I think I killed him. What's up, fellow collectors? Today I'm talking about the Covenant Spec Ops Elite in Active Camouflage and Grunt 2-pack. So let's take a look at this. You can see the Elite. He's all stealthy looking, invisible. I could barely even see him in there. It's crazy. And then you got a Grunt here. He's like, yeah. And then you got an Elite and a Grunt down there, what they look like in the game. Spec Ops dudes. You got each figure has over 10 moving parts. So cool. And then on the back you got all the 2-packs and stuff that you got in the series, all the single carded figures down here. Then you got the Mongoose, more single carded figures, and then box sets and armor packs and all kinds of good stuff. So we're gonna go ahead, open these guys up and see what they're all about. Alright, I got these guys opened up, and I gotta say, right out of the package, I am incredibly disappointed because these figures, man, they look so cool in the package. I was pretty excited to get the fuel rod gun and put it in the Grunt's hand, but that's pretty much impossible. You cannot get this gun into his hand at all. His hands are so closed, and they're hard plastic. You can't stretch them and open them up, that you can't even put this weapon in his hand at all. You know, there's no grip or anything that was just going to easily slide into this figure's hand, and that's really unfortunate because the Spec Up Grunts usually have fuel rod cannons in the game. It just sucks because now you can't have them hold it, you know, the actual action figure hold it, so that's a bummer. You know, even the Spartan figures can barely hold it. You know, I got the blue military police Spartan here, and you can kind of make him hold it if you stick his thumb like right in the center of this hole here, and you know, you can hold it barely, but it's still a little shaky and wobbly. So it just kind of sucks that they don't design these weapons to be held very easily by figures. You know, you'd figure that every gun would be able to be universally held by the majority of the figures and not just the Spartan characters, especially, you know, with the Covenant weapons. You seem to continuously have problems with figures being able to hold their guns, and it sucks. So I'm probably going to end up giving this guy just a Needler because, you know, the Spec Up Grunts will use Needlers a lot too, but when you get to the harder, you know, levels in Halo, they start using the fuel rod guns. Overall, the detail on the figure is really nice, though. I do like his mask. It's kind of similar to the Heavy Grunt's mask, and you can't remove it. You can remove his gas mask as well and see his ugly Grunt face. But we'll put that back on because I don't like the ugly Grunt face. It's not very pretty at all. I do like his armor though. You got some Covenant symbols up here. It's got an all black and kind of green aspect to it. It does look very sleek and nice, and it's got a very special operations look that I guess the Grunt would have. And you know, it does look good. I do like the Grunt. You know, the Grunt, as far as articulation goes, it's pretty good. You know, everything about the Grunt I liked, except for the fact that he can't hold his gun. And then the figure also comes with a plasma grenade, which she can't really hold either, and there's not really a spot to put the plasma grenade on. And there's also a invisible plasma grenade for the Spec Ops Elite, so kind of a bummer that he can't really hold any guns, so you pretty much have to buy another figure to give him a gun, which is really, you know, stupid because you should have to spend more money on something that should already work in the first place. You know, it's a huge bummer. It's a huge disappointment on McFarlane's end because they really need to improve their quality control. But the Grunt is actually the best thing that came out of this package because the Spec Ops Elite, as I will show you right here, immediately broke as soon as I took them out of the package, you know. I know that these figures, when they're all in the clear plastic molding, are very, very fragile, but the fact that I just moved his leg to check the articulation and it snapped off right in there. You know, it's not something that you could just pop back in. It literally broke off from the actual peg on the inside. So the only way of fixing this guy is by putting on super glue or some other type of adhesive and gluing his leg back in. And that's a huge bummer because I pretty much lose all of the articulation in this leg, and it's going to be really hard for me to do a stop motion with him, to do any kind of animation with him, to do pretty much anything with him besides have him stand or have him be a dead body. And that's really disappointing. It's really disappointing, especially since I actually really do like the Spec Ops Elites. They're my favorite type of elite character in the game. Just something about them, they just have that really cool covert look to them, and now I have one and it immediately breaks on me, and it sucks because, you know, I spend money on this stuff because I want it to work and I want to have a nice collection of stuff that isn't broken, and as soon as I open it out of the package, this happens. It's completely, you know, inexcusable on McFarlane's end. You know, the quality control department in that company is like, I don't know what the heck these guys are doing. And on top of the fact, he's kind of coated in like this really greasy like material, and I don't know, it smells bad, and I'm gonna have to go wash my hands after this review because it's smelly, it's stinky, and not really a fan of that. The molding on the figure is really nice too. You know, I really do like the way the figure kind of looks. He's got the special operations look to him, but he looks invisible enough to where you could still see him on display with the collection. It still looks really good, and you kind of get the point that he's invisible or whatever. But just, man, the fact that the leg broke off is really terrible. And also, I don't remember the energy swords being invisible or the grenades being invisible when the elites were actually invisible in the game. I remember that you could still at least see their swords, and they'd be in full color, even though the figure or the elite would be invisible himself. That's kind of how you would be able to see the elite. You'd be able to see their swords kind of glowing, and they'd be running at you. But you know, I don't understand why the whole entire sword is a translucent, transparent plastic. You know, it's kind of a bummer. And he doesn't really hold the sword too well either. You know, you really got to force it in there, and when you do, he still doesn't really grip down on it too well. He can't really get this hilt of the sword in between his fingers enough to be able to hold it. So that's also a pretty huge bummer. So I'm pretty bummed out in general about this set. I mean, I got a special operations grunt out of it. You know, he can't hold his gun, so I'm gonna have to give him another gun from a different figure, which also sucks because I don't really have a whole lot of weapons to go around because each figure only comes with like one weapon. So I'm gonna have to, you know, take one weapon away from another figure, and then he's probably not gonna have one because no one can really hold this gun. So it's just a merry-go-round of bummerness, and he can't really stand. So yeah, that's my review. Gotta say, if you're gonna pick up this pack, be very, very wary of the fact that this plastic is very, very incredibly fragile, you know, and even taking it out of the box and touching it will make it explode, and you know, it's really, really crappy. Pass it up. Don't even, this is not worth your money. It's actually a waste of your money if you pick it up because it's gonna break, and no one likes broken stuff when it's brand new. So that's that. Check out my channel, guys. I got a bunch of other Halo action figure reviews. I got a bunch of other animations, stop motion, stuff like that I do with my collection. So check that out. Subscribe, comment, rate, do all that awesome stuff, and I will see you guys in the next video, and thank you all for watching.